Hello everybody, this is Duke, and now this is my new truck. You know, before I had the Ford, and I'll tell you why I traded in here in a little while. But this is a 2019 Toyota Tundra. It's the 5.7 liter V8 I-Force. It's got the big engine in it. The fuel mileage is quite a bit different than the Ford. The Ford got around 20 miles a gallon. This one here gets around 15 highway. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense until you understand why I needed a bigger truck. I couldn't find an RV that my other truck would pull. The other truck would only pull 6,100 pounds. This truck here pulls 12,000 pounds. It's built for pulling. It's got heavy duty suspension on it. It's got all the goodies except for mag wheels, which I don't particularly care about the mag wheels. The only thing I've done to it so far is I put Nerf bars on it because I have trouble getting in and out of it because of my back. But it's got sprayed in bed liner bed. Of course you can see it's dirty. We've been hauling stuff in it. It has backup camera. And then this is also, the other truck, the Ford, was a single cab. And when we went by groceries, if we both went, whoever sat on the passenger side had to sit with most of the groceries in their lap. So that was an inconvenience. But it has the Automatic Plus in it, and I don't know how to explain that yet. Guy needs a muffler. Needs to go to Midas. But anyway, I'll come back on that later. It does have the 8-speed transmission in it. There's the back of it. Of course, my wife, I was going to do a video yesterday. This is Sunday. I was going to do it on Saturday, but she said, no, I want to wash it first. She washed it, and all the dust and everything we had out here, I got up this morning, she's out here cleaning the truck up. But as you'll be able to tell when I crank it, it's got all the goodies on it. Well, not all of them, but most of them that I need. When you turn the key on, it has all your displays. Shows you outside temperature. It's 83 degrees right now. And then, well, alright, there we go. There's your odometer, digital and analog. Now this right here, that is a coffee cup And what that means is, if you swerve in and out of your lane too much, it'll tell you to stop and rest and get a cup of coffee. I'm serious. It does that. I keep it turned off because I cannot. It's not meant for 2-lane highways, I don't think, because that thing constantly goes off and just drives me nuts. But right there, apparently has nothing in it. And then that's your mileage. It's 13.3 miles per gallon, which when I drive, I don't get mileage like my wife does. And then that's the distance on your trip odometer. And then that tells you how many miles you got left on a tank of gas. Of course, another coffee cup. Let me see. Odometer, yeah. All right. And then you have your audio. And okay, let's see, it has XM, Sirius XM, which we get this for 3 months free. I won't use it because I like regular radio. And let's see, channel list. You got pop, rock, all that good stuff. If you can see that. Why is that so blurry? Well, it's not going to focus on it. There you go. And then it's touch screen. It has Bluetooth for your phone. You have audio, Bluetooth, AM, FM, XM, CD radio. It has audio and has a recorder. USB. Okay. Let's see. And that gives you an idea what it sounds like. Okay, maybe they won't tag me for that. Rearview mirror has the compass in it. It also has at night driving, if someone comes up behind you with bright lights on, it'll dim the mirror so it won't blind you. And then it also has garage door opening and closing. It also has a place to hold your sunglasses and your garage door opener. Okay. Has one heck of a sound system in it. Let me put it in reverse so you can see. There's your reverse. Now I put my own forward facing mirror, and it's not on. No, there it is. Anyway, I always have a DVR camera in my truck, car, whatever I drive. I even have one on my motorcycle because if you have an accident, at least you got proof of whose fault it is. Turn that thing off because we're fixing to go here in a little while to Academy. It's got the cup holders, and you got your little junk drawer here. You got power seats on the driver's side. I didn't get the mag wheels because I don't particularly care for them. I plan on painting these rims black in the near future. I'll rub Vaseline on the tires, then I'll spray the rim. I'll sand them down, prime them, paint them a nice flat black, because I don't like that silver on it. But anyway, that's my new truck. Of course, it's got power mirrors on it. And we like it, we enjoy it. Okay, I'll be back in a minute and I'll tell you about the Ford. Okay, I'm back. Now, about the Ford. I never did do a review on it because I was a little embarrassed by it. We've had this truck here for 45 days. I wanted to wait till I drove it and knew more about it, so if anybody asked me any questions about it, I would be able to tell them about it. If there's anything you want to know, just let me know. Now with this truck, I get 3 years of free oil change and service, rotating balance, stuff like that. Now, it's not free. I'm pretty sure it was in the price. But the Ford, I've always done my own oil changes. Now I do take it down and have tires rotating balance, but I always do my own oil change, and it's just because you can't trust them to do them right. I mean, you take it to an oil change place, they either don't replace the oil filter, they'll leave the old one on there and claim, well, we replaced it and charge you for it, or they'll either overflow it, or not put enough oil in it, or not put any oil in it. Or do like they did one somewhere. I heard someone tell that they took the oil car down to an oil change place and they forgot to put the plug back in. They put oil in, you just run right through it. Because he said he stood there and watched them put the oil in it, but when he got it home, it didn't have any oil and it ruined his engine. So I've always been leery about other people doing my oil changes. And believe me, when I take this truck down and have an oil change done in it, I will check it to make sure they changed the oil filter, and I'll check it, make sure it's got plenty of oil in it before I even move it off the lot. But the Ford, the first time I had, it drove good. It had a little naturally aspirated V6. Like I said before, it only pulled 6,100 pounds. That's not a lot. Maybe a small boat. I can pull a small mobile home RV with it, but not big enough for us. All the ones that I wanted, the one I'm wanting right now is it's a 28 to 29 foot mobile home, and it's more than that. All of them are more than what that my Ford could pull. And then when it came time to do the first oil change on my Ford, well, the oil filter was leaking on it. And I cleaned it up and everything. Took brake cleaner, sprayed on it, cleaned it all up, cleaned all the oil off of it and everything, and cleaned it up, the oil seal, changed the oil in it. Well, it never showed oil, low on oil. It was always right on the money. Well, after the second time came along, I told my wife about the first time that it was leaking oil. I got to looking up online and come to find out those engines, there was people complaining about the front seal, rear seal, valve covers leaking. I don't think anybody mentioned oil pan leaking. The oil filter, they couldn't get the oil filter to stop leaking. Just small leaks everywhere. I mean, one guy said that he took his truck back and they had to replace every gasket on it to get it to stop leaking oil. But now, sometimes, now that wasn't a video or anything. That was a review. But you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. Reviews now, just anybody can go up there and put one on there, and you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. So I don't put a whole lot in the reviews. Now, when I did the reviews on this truck, 95% of them were good. I also checked Dodge, Chevrolet, which I have never cared for Chevrolet because of the interiors. when I used to work on cars, it was always the interior that fell apart. The Dodge, it was electrical problems. Uh, the Chevrolets, the interior fell apart. The overhead thing would come loose. The lining, the headliner would come loose. The glove boxes would fall off. Your signal light switch would break off. It was just minor stuff. Uh, and the only other Ford I ever bought new was, well, I didn't buy it, it was given to me. My mother-in-law gave it to me. But I got up one morning and went to crank it, going to work, and it started knocking. Had never given me trouble. So I took it down to the Ford place, and they said, well, you need a new block, so you need a short block. So they put a new short block in it. It lasted about, so I'd say about a month and a half. I went up, got out, go to work one morning, and the engine just flew all pieces in it. Well, that time, no, the third time I think I marked the block. I put my initials. I had some metal stamps, and I put my initials on the side of the block. Well, the third time they replaced put a complete new engine in it. So they set a new engine. Well, before I left, I climbed up there, climbed up underneath the truck, and there was my initials on the side, right above the filter where they said they had replaced it. And I told the manager, I said, "You didn't replace this engine." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It wouldn't have my initials on it if you did." And they were forced to replace the engine. But I sold that truck right quick. I mean, I got rid of it. And back then I had a 99 dually. I was pulling a big, and I didn't pull it with Ford. The dually I pulled a fifth wheel with, and there was nothing going to stop that Cummins engine. But not long after that, I got hurt, and I couldn't even crawl up into it. Even with Nerf bars on, I couldn't get up in it. So I got rid of it. And I've been basically, I've had cars or vans, stuff like that. I didn't get my first truck till we moved here, and I bought a Mitsubishi used truck. It was a piece of junk. Then I bought a Nissan. I loved that Nissan. I wish I'd never traded it in. It had everything. I had that truck 2 years before I realized that it had radio controls in the back seat. I never sat in the back seat. Nobody ever sat back there, so I never really noticed it. And I don't wash trucks. I don't vacuum out, because the last time I washed a truck, I couldn't walk for a week. So I'm not gonna wash them. And this is the last time my wife's gonna wash this one, because it's just getting too rough too. So they've got a thing down here at the car wash. You pay $20 a month. You can wash your car up to 2 times a day, every day for a month. For $20, that's not bad. It's kind of like a club thing. I mean, you get free vacuuming, free wax, stuff like that. So I'm gonna check into that. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm gonna check into it. And but the Ford, it kind of scared me. The second time I went to do an oil change on it, I found another oil leak, but I couldn't find out where it was leaking at. I sprayed it down with brake fluid, cleaned off all the old oil off. It wasn't coming from the filter this time. It was coming from above. It had to be coming from the bottom side of a valve cover, I think, because I never did really find out where it was coming from. And you don't buy a new truck to have trouble out of it. And I told my wife, I said, I didn't tell her until after we traded it. But I went to Chevrolet, Dodge, Ford. Nobody wanted to deal with me. And I think it's because they knew about them oil leaks. We went to Nissan. Nissan worked with us. They got the payment down to where we could afford it and everything. And uh, I'll put it this way: I don't want to say what the payment is on it because somebody's going to have something to say about it. But on the Ford, we're paying $450 a month on. On this truck here, it's a little bit higher than that, but not so bad that we can't afford to make it. But this will probably be the last truck I ever buy, as long as it stays in good shape. I hope it's the last one I ever buy. But if it starts leaking oil, you better believe I'll get rid of it. I can't stand a vehicle that leaks oil. When I was a kid, I had a Nash Rambler, and my brother rebuilt the engine in it and locked it up. See, he was supposed to be a mechanic. Well, I kept trying to tell him why it locked up. He didn't put any oil on the piston rings or on the connecting rods. He just put them in there and tightened them up. Well, it locked up. I bought the car from him for $10. Dropped the oil pan, took all the connecting rods off, and put 90 weight gear oil on them. Hooked them all back up. By the end of the day, I was driving that car. And of course, he didn't like it because he wanted to buy it back, and I told him, no, I'm not selling it to you. But of course, I was too young at the time to even drive. I was only 13, 14 years old. And so I think that was the first engine I built, or well, worked on. That's the reason I decided to get rid of the white Ford I had. It's just there were just too many problems with it. I mean, I don't care. I don't care to have trouble out of a vehicle, especially when it's new. And you can take it in for a recall, but does not mean. Now, what was so funny is I kept looking for a recall. I even contacted Ford, not the dealership I bought it from, but another Ford place, and asked them. I said, "Is there any recalls on my truck?" No, there ain't no recalls. I looked up online. There was 5 recalls on that truck, and not one of them was due with oil leaking. But yet, that was most of the complaints. Not transmission fluid, but oil leaking. And a new engine should not leak oil, especially nowadays. These engine blocks are CNC engine blocks, and the tolerances should be so close that they should not leak oil. I have heard about the turbo, the 6-cylinder turbo Fords. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but what I've heard online, that the turbo is not lasting on them. And it's not the turbo itself, it's the piping that goes bad. One guy said something about it having a piece of plastic on the